everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Tug of More.
That's where you're at.
That's where you're at.
I don't know if this is your first episode, but it is, man. We're glad that you're here. We got so many new people coming to our church.
That's true.
It's crazy.
So fun.
We need to tell them about the Tug of More because some of them are just tuning in for the first time.
That's right. We are just two friends having a conversation about where we are and where we want to be. There's a fight, a tension, a struggle. Between those places, and that is the Tug of More.
We're friends.
That's true.
We've been friends a long time.
A long time.
We have even celebrated holidays together.
That's true.
Thanksgiving. This year, though,
Joke.
the Barths are too cool for school.
Yeah, we're so cool. We're going to a chicken farm.
They've adopted a new family that has replaced the Babbies.
That's not true.
It's true.
You just have a family that
we even lost Jane and Jerry.
You don't have a child for my child to marry. This is the problem.
That would be
you
weird.
It would kind of be weird because it would kind of be like, like cousins. But your kids are a decade younger than mine, so it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
You waited too
long.
Unless
Easton really waits.
Yeah, you have to wait a long time. That's really funny. Speaking of them, so my son's fiance, soon to be daughter-in-law's parents were in town because of the engagement, and Brent Young is Brady's dad, and he is a huge
shout out
Tug of More fan.
Chicken Man.
Yes, and he came in and actually toured the studio and sat in your chair.
Good.
And he was so happy to get to sit there because, if you ever want to come visit anyone, they can come visit.
That means I'm going to have some extra anointing on me today.
Yeah, that's right.
I dressed on Sunday when they were here. I dressed to make D Queen feel welcome.
That's right.
I wore a button-up or a pearl snap.
Levi's
denim shirt.
It was looking good.
Yeah, I wasn't preaching. So.
You had your Timberlands.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about that. You weren't preaching, but that is a great preaching outfit.
It is?
Yes. Don't you think that would be a great preaching outfit? Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Sometimes you don't know how cool you look.
I don't ever know how cool I look.
Sometimes you don't know how cool you don't look, and sometimes you don't know how cool you do look. That's what we are at 40.
That's
not just you, that's me.
I think if I'm wearing joggers and a t-shirt, I look like I'm about to go work out. Yeah. And
you assign outfits for like jobs and roles.
Yeah, this is part of my whole problem in life is that everything is function. So I don't really know what it is. Whitney and Rachel came over Rachel lives there.
Yes.
But this week came and helped me go through my whole closet, and that was an experience.
You did a good job. Sometimes people get very defensive, and now I was softer on you on some things like that. I was like, you should get rid of this, but I'm gonna let you because it was your first time.
I've lost a few LBs. And so some of the things in my wardrobe don't fit. And some are just kind of played out.
Yeah.
And so my closet was just shoved full of, how many hoodies did I have?
How many hoodies did you have? How many did you keep? Still a lot.
So many. And I don't even know where they all come from.
Yeah.
They're free. I get them from an event. I go preach somewhere. So I just have so many hoodies.
You had one shirt.
It's like, how many hoodies do I need in case someone's car is stuck in a ditch and I have to go pull them out?
We were literally getting rid of one, and you were like, but I like to wear that to Sam's. And I was like, but you can't wear any of those to Sam's? And you were like, oh, dang. How many black hoodies should a person own? This is a question that we asked.
So now my closet be looking like old Mother Hubbard's cupboards.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I got plenty of stuff in there.
What does that mean? Bare?
No, yeah, bare.
Oh, my word. That is not true or possible.
In comparison to the chaos, but I have so many clothes. So Rachel, we were going to take them to one of those resale shops, but this one said that we can make more if we sell them. So Rachel's got a bunch of my clothes. So if you are a handsome man who's in the XXX world, dude, I have a whole wardrobe.
Jump on Facebook Marketplace.
That I will sell you at a steeply discounted rate.
That's true.
In comparison to new. And I only wore some of it for like a minute.
Yeah. There was one shirt, though, that as soon as I pulled it out of the pile, you were like, nope, that's staying. And it was sentimental. You'd had it since like you went on one of your first dates with Rachel.
Yeah, first dates. And I wore it in the very first time we got our pictures taken. And so we have a big picture hanging over, not above our bed, but like, that'd be weird. Picture of us above the bed, above the, what's it called? The headboard?
That's correct. Above the headboard.
And I have that shirt on. I still have it. And I put it on and it still fits. And so I was like, not throwing this one away.
No.
But all the others, see you suckers.
There you go. So
clean it out. Good. Which, speaking of the holidays and your clothes fitting.
Man, it's important.
I I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, you probably maybe should have kept a couple things just in case. No.
Ouch.
No, I was saying it I said it the wrong. I'm not good sometimes to say it backwards.
I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous that the wheels are going to fall all the way off on my nutritional goals.
You have been
during Thanksgiving and Christmas. Oh yeah, Halloween.
You already did Halloween.
How many Kit Kats?
Do I think you ate?
Yeah, how many Kit Kats?
7. Is it more than 7?
70.
70?
I don't know.
That's not true.
McKinley bought Lillian.
Oh, that's true.
2 giant bags of Kit
Mega
Kats.
bags.
And I bet I've eaten 20 Kit Kats. Like the little 2-packers.
Yeah, is that like a craving of yours? Do you love Kit Kats?
I like chocolate.
Oh. Because I'm saying, like, for me, if there's Snickers and 3 Musketeers, that's a problem. Like, I have candy bars that are problems. 3 Musketeers, top problem.
You had a $100,000 bar?
I don't know.
Oof, dude, $100,000. They're not like a candy, like a Halloween candy.
No, they're just like a regular.
Yeah, $100,000's a bomb.
Oh, yeah. No, see, 3 Musketeers.
Or peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
I'll be snacking. I'll snack
But that's
some
protein. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah. That's what the devil says.
Especially if you get the almond M&Ms. Have you ever done that? Then I tell myself it's super healthy.
Yeah. Well, you know how much fat is in an almond in contrast to protein? Probably more.
Is it really?
I don't
even know.
Easton looks like he's going to die over there.
He's not feeling good.
Easton's a little under the weather. And dude's over there looking like
He wore his slippers to work today. That's how you know.
He looks like a full gospel preacher about to go up on stage with those slip-ons.
Full gospel. He's going to say, can we talk about that? You made a video on your stories at the airport the other day.
I got way less engagement than I thought I would.
Oh, really?
I thought I was going to be having people comment all over the place. And I'm kind of nervous they think that it was real.
Oh, maybe you should reshare it and say this was a joke in case anyone was offended. But it was really funny. You were saying like, well, thank you for supporting my ministry with this giant airplane.
In front of this airplane.
Aaron's favorite part, though, was that it was a Gulfstream, like a jet. And
I know I messed it up.
No, it was clear you did it on purpose, but it was really funny. He said a Cessna 7398 or 5 or something. I don't know what he said, but he said it silly. It was really funny. It was a joke, but it was funny.
So holidays are coming.
Yep.
Christmas.
I
want to confess something.
Uh-oh. What's your confession?
The last 3 years, I've done this to myself. And last year, Rachel pointed it out while it was happening. I make banana cream pudding every Thanksgiving, and I make an absurd amount. And I make so much, I give it out to friends, like pans. But the real reason that I've made so much is so that I can just eat.
Right. An exorbitant amount.
And I get sick every Thanksgiving. And you know why I think have gotten sick, Rachel said?
Dairy.
Yeah, dairy and sugar.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to make it this year. And I'm going to see if I get sick in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. If I don't get sick, banana pudding. I banana pudding myself to death.
There's probably something in the banana pudding that is also in the Hawaiian rolls that make you sick. I bet there is a common ingredient.
If I eat 2 Hawaiian rolls, I can't barely, I'm not flexible. I was going to say I can't walk.
Butt? Oh, I was like, what are you going to say?
My back, my glutes lock up, my neck's all stiff.
Oh, my word.
I don't know what's in those Hawaiian rolls, but it's trust and poison.
Yeah, so maybe between those 2 things, don't eat them at Thanksgiving. Hopefully you'll be well.
But my banana pudding.
No, it's very good. I'm a little sad.
Well, you're not even here.
I know, but you would freeze some for me and keep
true.
it. And so it's sad. But that's okay.
Mom's going to make some cheesy potatoes and some fried chicken.
She does.
What's your jam? What's your holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas?
I'm one of the hated people on social media this year. Is a big thing about cranberry sauce, and
it's gross.
Love cranberry sauce.
No, it's gross because it's not sauce.
Oh yeah,
it's
jelly
in
a can
that plumps out of there like a
the
dead
plop
sea.
sound is part of the experience. It's so good.
Looks gross.
I love like turkey and cranberry sauce together in one bite. That's like my favorite part of Thanksgiving. And then cream corn. No, not cream corn. What do we call it? Corn casserole. That's what we call it. So it's like spicy, but it's corn and cream cheese and jalapeno.
That's good. I'll get down with those green beans.
Oh yeah.
We're inviting Kyle and Sydney to Thanksgiving.
Oh, good.
I might tell Kyle said, "What should I bring?" I might tell him to make that cream corn.
Yes.
Because my mom doesn't know how to make that.
She doesn't do that. Oh yeah, no. Because one year I made it
It's too spicy.
And too spicy. But I made it mild for your mom. And I was like, here is the like Michigan, Ohio people corn casserole, and here's the Texas people. And she was like, which one? I got the wrong one. And I'm like, nope, that's the mild.
My mom can't eat the corn at Chipotle because it's too spicy.
Yeah, my mom is the same way.
The corn.
Vicky is the same way.
Not the mild salsa.
Yeah.
The corn is too spicy.
So yeah, I don't know.
Mom can't make it.
No, it happens. So that, and then mashed potatoes, I don't know. My kids love noodles. My grandma used to make these egg noodles.
Like buttery noodles?
They're kind of like buttery, eggy. Yeah, they love those. And then what else?
Do you like deviled eggs?
I do like deviled eggs. You don't,
I don't know. If your husband eats a deviled egg.
Oh, yeah. He has bad parts.
That's the stingiest dude I ever. That's the worst. It's like a dinosaur took a crap in your living room. I'm like.
It's the worst part of the whole world. I don't know why.
Who brought the Brontosaurus up in here?
It's bad. You're right.
Even happened.
Funny.
But you're going to Arkansas.
We're going, and they said
Whitney had a sister. Well, has a sister who is vegan for a minute.
I had a sister.
Whitney has a sister. I don't know if she listens.
Now
Emily,
she is not vegan. Now
Emily, you should listen.
She should.
That was the weirdest Thanksgiving I ever experienced. Is when you brought all your vegan. She had a vegan turkey.
Yeah.
That was some weird junk. I tried a bunch of it.
No.
I'd rather be fat.
No.
I'd rather be fat and die 10 years early.
I survived. I ate a whole vegan Thanksgiving 1 year. Your mom did too 1 year, except she ate.
My mom did she's called like a blue diet or something. Is that what it's called?
She did that.
Is that what it is? Blue something?
Yeah. She told me all about it.
You only eat blue food?
But we had eaten Thanksgiving together, and then I didn't realize it. I didn't really pay attention to her plate that much. And then at Titus's birthday, which is only like a week later, she told me, I ate vegan this year for the first time. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But yeah.
My poor son, he got hosed.
Yeah.
His birthday is November 30th. And so it's after Thanksgiving.
But right before Christmas.
Yeah, and so the poor dude, nobody can come to his birthday party because they're all busy or they're all out of town. And he feels like it's personal. And then I'm like, well, dude, we can celebrate another time. He's like, no, I want to celebrate on my birthday.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, ain't nobody coming.
Well,
this year we're doing it after church on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Is it this week?
No.
Next is the 3rd.
It's the 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
His birthday party.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, what are we talking about?
We're talking about what I experienced helping you with your closet and what Candace, my friend that helped me with my closet, probably experienced, which was a little bit of anxiety.
Oh, anxiety.
We're talking about anxiety because
stress, worry,
Tim
fear
did a great message at the church about anxiety, the promise that you can have perfect peace even when situations around you aren't perfectly peaceful. I don't really know exactly how he said it, but we've actually had a lot of people on the Tug team talk to us, message us about anxiety that and I think it's natural for people who are not where they want to be.
Yeah.
But are right here, but there's a tension and a fight. You're tugging and there's anxiety. What does your face mean?
What's my face? My face is, I just think that,
you made a smiley face?
No, I just started to think about, whoever's in charge of who's preaching these weeks has just done a really fabulous job assigning people the correct weeks to kind of help them grow in their journey.
Yes, it's very good. You're so funny. I was like, he just laughed at himself, but I don't know why. Tim did an amazing job talking about it. And so we were like, okay, let's unpack a little more of that conversation because we've all struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with it. You struggled with it. So
proud of Tim.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. So let's talk about that first.
Tim did such a good job. Here's the link. Which corner, Easton? This one? Oh, yeah. So he did such a good job. Tim, when he was younger, he would preach and he would tell so much personal story.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But this one, he had a
perfect balance.
Perfect balance.
Yeah.
So good.
It was really great. It made you feel connected to in a way of I connected to Tim, but then I so connected to it about myself. He said a couple of things that just knocked me in the face, made me realize I have overcome some of my anxiety, but then, I am not battling it correctly when it comes.
If my foot blocking the whole thing, if I put my foot here.
I do this every time.
Well, I know, but you just have little.
One time I had a bunch of gum on the bottom of my shoe and I was so embarrassed the rest of the.
I went to a wedding one time and the guy's groomsman wrote "Save me" on the bottom of his feet and he had to bow down to the altar. for something that priest dude had him kneel, and then you saw on his feet and it says "Save me."
That's really funny.
No, Tim did a great job.
What were you about to say?
I was about to say Tim did an illustration that made me so mad I wasn't up there doing it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Super
I was
good.
like jealous.
I told him
I'm amening, and I'm jealous of how good the illustration is.
I told him that people behind me were like audibly like, "Oh wow!" So if you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it. But yeah, I think we should talk about a couple of different points in it that really helped us that we can then unpack even more.
Well, I got a line that was worth the price of admission.
Okay, get it. What is it?
He told that story about how he used to leave work.
Yeah.
And he had to drive home, and then he would get to work, or he would get to the door of his house.
He used to work for Southwest Airlines, and he was in like customer complaints. So he was so good at it because Tim is naturally a kind, encouraging, like generous type person. And so he was so good at it that they promoted him but his promotion was to get the worst complaints.
Escalated.
So he got the most escalated issues of the most pissed off people.
People screaming, yelling, cursing, you ruined my grandma's funeral.
And people were already cussing. Yeah.
Right. And so he said that what he would do is he would stand at the front door of his house and he would say to himself, I am not letting my customers into my home.
Right.
And dude, I about stood up and threw my Bible at him and then turned around and yelled at the church, I'm not letting none of y'all into my home.
Well, he said, I'm not inviting, right? Which totally convicted me because how many times have I invited it in myself?
The complaints. That it's not good enough. The negative.
I bring it in and then I invite it in because I'm like, hey, let me talk about this thing. Or, hey, let me take this phone call when I already said I wasn't going to take it. Yeah. Hey, let me go answer this email. Hey, let me keep thinking about this problem at work instead of being here with my family. I've invited it in so many times.
What I appreciated that he did is that he didn't, if I would have preached that message, I would have spent 3 to 5 minutes defining what anxiety is.
Yeah.
He didn't.
No, he didn't.
You know why?
He didn't need to.
They already know.
Right.
If you got it, you already know.
Yeah.
And
he said, turn to your right or your left to your neighbor and say, like, are you anxious? Are you anxious? And if it's not them, then it's you. And I was like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Like, because it is. I have succumbed to what he talked about. He said that it's now become a personality trait. And I have allowed myself in seasons to succumb to the personality trait of just, I'm an anxious person. Not anxious in like suffering from anxiety, but anxious in like, is that okay? Are they okay? Is this happening? Is everything all right? And the spin was more like smaller spins, but a whole bunch of smaller spins all at once.
So we have had people on the Tug team reach out.
A bunch, yeah.
And maybe one of our major questions that people ask us to answer is, how do I deal with anxiety?
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you didn't listen to the message, go and listen to it. But what else? What else do we got?
He said one to me that I think is a really real one for those of us who are Tug team connoisseurs. He said, you can't have peace in every circumstance if you have to understand every circumstance. And he talked about how a lot of times our lack of peace comes from the fact that we're out of control. We want to be in control, and therefore when we're not in control, we're anxious. And man, it wrecked me because I realized, a lot of the things I get anxious about are just the things that I don't have full control over. And the truth is, if you only cope by having control all the time, that is the most exhausting way to live. And I have spent a lot of my life trying to control all of my situations, all of my surroundings, all of my people, all of my environment, all of my vacation, all of my details of my day, all of my holiday, controlling everything around me so that I wouldn't get anxious, so that I wouldn't feel.
It's a defense mechanism,
right,
to protect
myself
against the what ifs.
The what ifs, what could happen. And so if I control the environment in my home, if I control the TV channel that we watch, if I control the music that's there's been seasons in my life where I have tried to be in control everywhere I was. And that is absurd and exhausting. It burns you out, but it hit me in such a way of like, I so want to know, like, oh, will it be okay? Okay, I know I can't control the situation, but how's it going to turn out? How's it going to work? And I want to understand things sometimes, even when, and the truth is I can't understand, Or if I did understand, I would miss the lesson that I'm being taught in the middle of it. And it just hit me so like, stop it. When I start to feel anxious, I need to ask myself, am I just trying to be in control of this? Am I just trying to control how they feel, how they are acting, what they're saying, what they're doing, the decision they're making, and the things that are outside of my control? Stop it. Yeah. Stop it.
I think control's a big piece that leads to our anxiety. But for me, I think it's a step maybe previous to that.
Yeah.
And it's that I want to have all the contingencies figured out.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I have a plan, exit strategies. Remember when we were kids, you get those choose your own adventure books? I want to make sure that I have every option possible planned for. Yeah. And that leads me into my brain being busier than needed.
Yeah. You sent me this. I couldn't find it. You sent me an Instagram story a long time ago about how people who've walked through different trauma responses, they get anxiety because their brain naturally sees worst case scenarios first and then builds all the different, all the different scenarios from there. But we start at worst case scenario and then we go here. And I think that, you're so right. It's the like.
But that's my problem.
Yeah. It's the contingency of, well, what if, and it's always like, it's just the natural tendency is to point to something so all the way over there. It's like, well, what if not? What if it's more like this? Like,
I know we talked about Easton's engagement.
Yeah.
But after Easton and Brady's engagement, Aaron now then has an airplane that he's flown there that he has to get back to its original location.
Yes.
And he has 2 extra seats in it.
Yes.
And so Rachel says that she wants to go on a ride on this airplane. And when I'm talking airplane, it's essentially like if a lawnmower turned into an airplane. This is maybe not an airplane, maybe a golf cart.
Yeah.
Like this thing is like a train airplane.
Here's a picture of the size of it. Okay.
Yeah. It's not like a big baller Mark Cuban airplane.
Right.
This is like how they let 22-year-olds learn how to fly.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm nervous because I've been in one of these planes with Aaron before and it's rattly and all the things. And like Rachel's going to ride this, but you know what I start to think about? I start to think about if Rachel dies.
You literally went all the way to the worst case scenario.
I went worst case scenario. And then I start thinking of all the contingencies of all the things that are going to happen to my kids, my future in the church. And like, I'm going to have to, can I still be pastor? Will I ever even be able to preach of this? Like, and I'm telling you so fast.
Oh, I saw it. It went over your face. You can see it.
In 5 seconds, contingencies of worst case scenarios. Yeah. And like, I didn't have like a panic attack or anything.
No, you let her go all the things. It was great.
Okay, but dang, a fast brain sometimes is trouble. I wish I had just a golden retriever brain every once in a while.
No, it's really true.
Instead of this little parrot chirpy brain, I got hummingbird brain up in here, and I wish I could just
Oh, it's the thing we talk about all the time, that like double-edged sword of like your gifting can be your worst enemy as well. And like being able to think quickly and come up with scenarios quickly is a gift, but it can very quickly become a curse against you that like causes you. I talked about it a little bit, but even just a few months back, I was having waves of anxiety hit me in the middle of the night about my kids and their future, about our church and its future, about my marriage and its like things that were just out of left field, unnecessary things that were just out of my control. And it suddenly was hitting me. And then I don't know what happens, but in the middle of the night, it's like way worse. It's like way bigger. I don't know why that is, other than maybe that you're already in a little bit of a sleepy state. So your brain just has freedom to run. I don't know.
And it's because all the other stuff's quiet.
Yeah.
You don't have time to think about all that right now because you're talking to me.
Right. You're right.
But once you're not doing all this other stuff,
it's got space to run around in circles, and that's what happens. And so, like, Tim did an illustration where he spun around on an office chair, and as he's doing it, I'm like, yeah, this spin is a real vortex that has caused me and other people I love to spin out in seasons, in circumstances, in situations that is like, man, if we could just stop the spin, if we could just stop it, maybe we could actually make progress. But instead what it does is you spin in a circle. You don't get anywhere. Some of our anxiety is that we're afraid we're going to be stuck. But because of our anxiety, we're stuck. Like we just get stuck.
Yeah.
And it was super good. What are you about to say?
Some of us that are listening might not, like me, might not all the way understand how anxiety fleshes out, or we think it's only this extreme.
Yeah, it's good.
Thing. We had this guy that worked for us. This is years ago. It was around Christmas time. We're decorating the building now, and it was right around the decorating time.
Yeah.
And he worked for us. And this guy, if something would go a little bit wrong, like on a Sunday, he would have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know what that was. I thought it was like, this is garbage. You know, eat a protein bar and like get back, do your job.
Right,
you know.
right.
But he would like go to another room in the church and like lay down and turn the lights off and cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, this freaking dude is a loser.
Right.
Because I didn't know what he was experiencing.
Right.
I didn't understand. Then we went to a conference, and this guy is sitting next to me, and a pastor comes out on stage that this pastor in the church he leads, this guy used to be connected to.
Yeah.
And so he starts having a panic attack and like hyperventilating next to me, just because a pastor, literally, we're at Gateway Church. It wasn't Robert Morris. It was a speaker at a conference. Half a mile away. I mean, their auditorium's gigantic. He's panicking because this guy's in the same room with him. This dude doesn't even know his name. And I was so like, this is weakness. This is just, anybody who has panic attack is just weak, is what I thought. But I just didn't understand the breadth of what anxiety does.
Right.
Anxiety is not only debilitating, full-fledged, on the ground crying.
Right.
But it's also the spin, the business, the overwhelmed sense of emotion or fear or worry that you just can't get past.
Well, and it's hard to understand it until you've experienced it.
Yeah.
And so then once you experience it, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's how I think for me, even just this last season was really the first time in my life that it felt like an out of control panics that would hit me. Most of my life, like I've been really good at replacing the lie with truth. And so I would get anxiety about something, but okay, here's the truth. That's a lie. Here's the truth. Here's a lie. Here's the truth. But it was a wave that I like couldn't, and again, it looked different for me. It wasn't debilitating that I was on the ground and crying, but the wave of it was unstoppable for me suddenly, that I was like, I do not want to be feeling this, but I am feeling this. I cannot seem to get out of this. I wanted to stop, but oh my word. And I knew better. I knew it was lie. I knew there was truth to replace it, but it was crippling me for a minute. And I feel like until you experience it, it's sometimes hard to even have grace and empathy for it.
I remember the first time that I was aware that anxiety was building up in me. We were doing a first week of a giving campaign, but it was the second year.
Yeah.
So we did a series called Charge, and then a year later we did Charge again. And we had this roll-in video that we made for Charge 1 of all of these famous iconic movies of guys charging, and it was to the Immigrant song, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I remember.
And so it was that song, and I'm on stage getting ready to preach, and I feel like I have the pressure of the world on me, because we had hired this consultant company to come in and tell us how to raise funds, and so I'm trying to do it right, and I want to do everything that they say, and I've got this message, and there's this money we have to raise because we're trying to build this building, and I feel like it's all on me.
And there's this chasm of money we haven't raised yet.
Chasm of money. And I know we're preaching 4 services. So I know I have to preach this message 4 times today. And it's the beginning of the series. I'm doing the 6-week thing. And we've got all these videos and all the stuff we've been working for. And while that video is playing, and the Immigrant song is like a dun 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 dun. So it's like now my central nervous system is just like on fire. And we had scheduled the worship set to be power. And so I'm up there, and like the lights come up, and I don't know if I had a panic attack.
Yeah.
But I had something physically happen to me that I could not get the words to come out.
Yeah.
And I said something like, I'm really excited about this series, and I want to pray to open it. And I took a minute to pray, but I was not okay.
Yeah.
I was Holy Spirit divinely stalling.
Right.
God was speaking through me to get words out. while I was stalling to like recenter and calm down. And the whole front row knows I'm not okay.
Yeah.
So Rachel and Whitney are up there going, "You're okay."
I remember you like stamped your foot.
Oh, I stamped. Well,
because you were trying to
man up.
Yeah, yeah.
And like,
it was so contrary and so opposing that you felt like, this will not happen to me.
No, I am not weak.
Yes.
I am not weak. I can carry any load. And in this moment, was crushed under my own thought and my own central nervous pressure that I'd put under myself. And that's when I really got on a personal counseling journey and started to admit, here's a big word.
Yeah.
Admit.
Yeah.
I was having some trouble.
Yeah.
And when I started to admit, now, I wasn't looking like the other guy in a fetal position crying for silly stuff. Mm-hmm. But I'm over here. And like, maybe I just had better tools given to me by my parents and in life than this guy had ever been given.
Right.
And so like, am I better? I don't know if I'm better. I'm just better equipped to deal with these pressures of life.
Right.
And like, so I started to gain empathy for it. And then when my friend Tim started experiencing new levels of panic when his mom passed and now he's a dad of 3 kids and all these things, I had this real empathy of like, I understand kind of what that is.
Right. And I think being willing to admit it, but then also recognizing that it does look different for everyone. I remember there was another time where you were like, am I having a heart attack? Remember? Uh-huh. But it was really just some anxiety that was rising up. I used to describe it to my counselor as like a hole in my chest. I didn't really understand that that's what it was. I just thought, I'm having these weird like waves of like a weird feeling. Yeah. It must be like physical, but it was actually emotional. But I did not connect it. I think that we've talked about it a bunch, like that feeling of like, no, I must accomplish the checklist. I must not be weak. I must be strong. All of that. Sometimes maybe it's worse is what's true. Maybe it's worse than the guy who's willing to just lay down and cry. Maybe we actually do more long-term damage to ourselves.
Put one foot in front of the other or to people around us.
Yes, right. That's what I'm saying. Right. We cause more collateral damage because we're just like, I got this, rah! But instead I'm spinning out. Yeah. Anyone close to you knows you're not okay. And I think what you said is so good. If you have not yet admitted that you're struggling with some anxiety, it's okay. Just admit it. Like, the people around you already know, because I think that's when, for you, when you were like, hey, I think I'm dealing with anxiety, those of us around you were like, yeah. And then when I finally admitted to you, like, hey, I think I'm having like the most anxiety I've ever had in my life. You're like, right. I've noticed that you're not yourself. Like, hello. I'm super aware of it. Yeah. And but we just want to either keep it together, keep one foot in front of the other,
or not admit that we're not doing great.
Yeah, if you'll start with admitting it, that's the first step. And we talk about that with everything, but it's true. You have to admit it and then be willing to look at it and go, okay, let me really evaluate what's going on, because you have a great explanation from the counselor of why we're experiencing anxiety, right? Like, or what you had a great definition, I remember, of like why our body responds to the anxiety the way it does, right?
Yeah, it's just you are taking in more than you're able to process. And there's a buildup that happens, is what you're saying.
Right.
And it's like the dam starts to overflow.
Yeah.
Because you can't process it. And so like I remember talking to my counselor and I was so bugged. I'm talking to him about this because it's embarrassing.
Right.
And I'm like, I do not have this anxiety. He says, Trustin, I want you to just do some breathing exercises with me. And so and he's talking to me about how you have to just calm down and like realize I'm okay. I'm safe. Nothing bad is happening. And man, just those breathing exercises have helped me preach every week since.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to stand in the front and worship full volume, full power, walk up on stage, and I'm so amped that the amperage is just too much for me to handle.
Yeah.
And so sometimes just slowing down, taking a breath, realizing that I'm good. Look, my wife loves me.
Right.
I'm healthy.
Right.
I had breakfast and there's food in my fridge. Like, it's a little thankfulness, a little bit like.
Absolutely.
Everything's chill, dude. Like, you're good. don't make a bigger deal than what's happening right now. It helps center the emotion.
You just said it. Tim said it yesterday that worship and worry can't like exist in the same space.
Right.
And I think that it's that the worship, which worship is just glorifying God, giving gratitude to God, expressing our thankfulness to God. And that gratitude is such a piece that I think, because what worry does is it gives you worst case scenarios. It gives you, what if this happens? It gives you, it's all negative. It's all, everything's the worst, which gratitude replaces some of that anxiety, some of that worry. And if we can just start our day, I've tried to start my day with recognizing some things that I'm so thankful for and grateful for, because it's just a small practice. But it allows me to look at the fact that problem is not as big as I'm making it out to be. That possibility is not as huge as I'm worried that it's going to be, or all encompassing as I'm worried that it will be. But instead, recognizing that, man, I have a lot to be thankful for, to be grateful for. And if I can start making that list, then it will help minimize some of these things I'm super anxious and stressed out about.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What?
No, it's great. Tim's message was so good. Something I can't help but do is whenever I hear a message, I think of how I would do it.
Yeah.
I think of like what I would say and what my points would be and how I would angle it. And I said it a little bit at the end of the second service. Tim had a couple points that were great about the anchors that help stabilize us when things are spinning. But I would have done the things that help stabilize me when anxiety or stress or worry hits is the word of God, wisdom from trusted voices, worship, that's gratitude, and then my workout, my physical being. That these 4 anchors that when I can connect to the word of God, wisdom, worship, and I'm in the workout, I'm taking my breathing, my whatever.
Yeah.
My anxiety is grounded. It cannot overwhelm me.
Right. It's really good.
And that would have been my angle.
No, it's so true.
Yeah.
The workout piece is, you're right. The breathing is what they teach you, and it feels silly. You feel ridiculous. But for me, even getting back in the gym for me was more based in my anxiety and my mental health than it was even my physical health. Like I was like, I'm happy enough. I could lose 5 pounds. And now that I am, like physically, I'm super thankful that I'm doing that and I can see the benefit. But also mentally is so, now when I don't, I recognize the mental stress and strain on myself that I'm like, oh, this just releases some endorphins. This allows me to actually process for real. Even that, the act of running, there's nothing, I can't do anything except run right now. So I am giving myself this ability to just like process some of the things I'm feeling and thinking, and instead of getting overwhelmed by it. And it's super important to have the tools, what you said before. A lot of people just weren't given the right tools. I remember for you, something your counselor said that then I stole. Was he said, make a list. You were super overwhelmed by all of these problems.
I hated this too.
And I remember he asked you to make a list.
Well, I said, man, I'm stressed out. Blah. He said, what's going on? I said, man, I got 200 problems. I got 200 things that are bigger than me, that are beating me, that are overwhelming than me. He said, really? You have 200? Yeah, dude, I got 200 things. And he pulls out his journal and he goes, tell me. No, dude, you don't want to hear him. He said, yeah, tell me your 200 things. I said, okay, bet. And then I start listing them. I'm listing. And as I'm doing it, I'm like shooting him like, see, my job's hard. You just sit in this chair and talk to people for $100 an hour. Like, right?
Right.
And so I get near the end and I start, well, and then I say something. He says, well, isn't that really connected to number 17? And that's not really, that's just a bullet point maybe. And that's really, you already said that. Yeah. And I got to 38 things.
Yeah. Big and small.
Yeah. And he said, so 38 things. Trustin, is 38 as big as 200? And I said, no. And he said, do you think you're strong enough to pick up 38 things? I said, yeah. He said, okay. You see, what you're doing is you're tricking yourself into thinking that it's bigger than you. that you can't.
Yeah.
That you're overwhelmed. But really, look, dude, there's 38 things, and really these 5 are sub-points of this, and he starts drawing lines, and it's really 38 is really only 26. And what's your timeline? Oh, your timeline is 5 years?
Right.
Because, like, when's this one due? Like, when's Lillian's college fund due? You know, like...
Yeah, all of these things, right?
And he's like, you got this.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of that perspective has really set me free.
Absolutely.
And I'm less worried now than I've ever been.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. We don't have a sign on the front of the building. And it might take another 4 months. And, dude, I'm chill as a cucumber. But I used to wouldn't have been.
Right.
But I've just got some perspective.
Yeah.
I used to would have been down at City Hall, having meetings, banging on doors.
Yeah.
What for? To what end?
Right. Right.
What good's it going to do? Maybe it's going to get us to sign up 1 month sooner.
Right.
Maybe me ruining the next 4 months of my life.
Right.
Ruining my sleep, ruining my diet, ruining my ability to be in the room with my kids.
Right.
My body's there, my brain's not. It's going to save us a month or two to have a sign on the front of the building. And who grows the church anyways? God or a sign?
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. The trust piece is a huge piece of our anxiety. Where do I put my trust? Mm-hmm. You said it's an anchor is what the Tim used the analogy of anchoring yourself, and that's what stops the spin. It's beautiful. You got to watch it. But are we anchored in? We put our trust in so many things. We put our hope in things around us all the time. But the true trust in God, to know that He's in charge of it all anyway, it really disarms any worry, any anxiety, because when you recognize, oh wait, has He taken care of my life up until this point? For me, that's what gratitude does. Gratitude reminds me, oh wait, He's taking care of all of these things that there's no way I actually could have done myself. He actually aligned certain things in my life in such a way that, did I move there, or did I take that job, or did I do yes, but He's the one who brought it into my path. And if I can really give myself that perspective and allow myself to trust Him more, then I don't actually have to worry. But we get so caught up, and then we put our trust in ourselves, and that is the part when it starts to feel like bigger than me. Well, yeah, a lot of what God's called me to do in life is bigger than me, and I can't do it on my own. And if I think I can, then no wonder I feel so anxious and worried and overwhelmed. But recognizing that that's where I have to put my trust, that's what I have to anchor to. That visual helped me so much in like, no, I just got to check my anchors. If I'm not daily checking them, whatever that looks like for you, because He did set God in His rightful place, see Him for who He is, right, and then speak life, speak truth, speak what's real.
See, set, speak.
See, set. Oh, see first, yeah, and then set, and then speak. And like, if you can actually check the anchors on a daily basis, then the anxiety can't control you. We're all gonna have.
It can't gain momentum.
Right. We're all gonna have. Right.
Punch.
Yes.
But you're not going to just get swept away.
Because the truth is, I was told you before, I was having like anxious, for real, like anxiety overwhelming me. And then I really believe in October, like God like set me free for real in a way that I've not struggled with it again to that level. But that doesn't mean I haven't had anxious moments.
Correct.
Moments where something set me off and made me worry for a minute.
Yeah.
But that's a totally different thing than being overwhelmed by anxiety. And so we're all human. So we're all going to have moments where we're a little bit like, oh, I hope that works out. Oh, is that going to be the right decision? Oh, I don't know about this. But you don't have to live in anxiety. You don't have to live there. You can be anchored to something much greater than you that is actually the one in charge of it in the first place.
But in October, you took some focused time.
Yeah. Focused time.
You said no to stuff.
Yep.
And took some time to admit,
yep,
I'm not doing great.
Right. To shh.
Yeah.
I mean, when you realize that your anxiety, what you said, the what is actually anxiety? To you and me, it was, worrying and freaking out. That's what we thought it was. But understanding, my physical body is not able to process all that my mental body is trying to process, or vice versa, whatever. That's what's happening. There's like a physiological response happening in me. When I was able to realize that made my Sabbath so much more important. Mm-hmm. That made my actual like intentional time with God so much more important. Oh, I need to allow myself to sit and admit what I feel. I want to be joyful. I want to be happy. I don't want to focus on the negative. I don't want to focus on what's going wrong. I don't like it. So I, personality wise and life trauma wise, will quickly go, oh yeah, but it's okay, but it's good. It's this. And I don't let myself feel sometimes what I'm actually feeling and the emotions of what I'm actually feeling, which then erupts in panic, freak out, whatever, at some point in my life. And I've learned, though, I have to let myself feel it. And if I don't know what I feel, I think that's another piece. Sometimes we don't know. That's okay. Give myself the space to go, what do I feel? How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Because what instead we do is we grit and muscle up and push through until the moment that it then just overtakes us. And I've had to learn the real practice of like, hey, what are you feeling today? What do you feel about this? Asking myself. I didn't like doing that because I'm a girl in a boy world, and I feel like girls are all about feelings. And again, I got this whole stigma about, no, I'm going to be a tough, strong woman. I'm not going to be feely. But the truth is, we all have feelings. We are humans.
I'm not a robot.
We all have feelings. We are not robots. And I have to ask myself, what do I feel about that? Or are you feeling it? Have you let yourself feel it so that that emotion doesn't overtake?
Yeah.
It's super important.
If somebody broke into your house.
Yes.
And you walk out in your living room and there's a man in a ski mask.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you would do?
Me or you? They're different.
Yeah, what's the first thing?
But I would yell and be like, Aaron, oh my God. Grab my phone, call 911. I don't know. I probably would not attack the man. I would run away.
So you would yell for someone.
Yeah.
The first thing I would do is yell at him.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of my house.
Oh, that's probably maybe true. No, I wouldn't. I would yell for someone probably. I guess. I don't know.
Well, they're both the right answer.
Yeah.
So next time you start feeling overwhelmed, I'm thinking of the people that have asked the questions.
Yeah.
Next time you feel anxiety is broken into your mind.
It's really good.
What do you need to do? You need to yell at it. Get out of my house.
Yeah.
You are not allowed here.
Right.
You do not have authority.
Right.
This is my mind. I'm taking these thoughts captive. I'm locking them away.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to run around as a rogue terrorist in my brain. Get out of my house.
Yeah.
And then what do you need to do next? You need to call somebody else.
Yeah.
And maybe that person you call is God.
Yeah.
Maybe you say, God, I need your help right now. You call on backup. Whitney doesn't feel capable to deal with a ski masked man in her house. She's going to call Aaron. She's going to call on somebody who's capable to tackle this joker. Maybe you need to call. You got to pray. And if that's not it, you've got to call wisdom.
Yeah.
You've got to call somebody and say, hey, I'm not okay. I can't tell you the number of times on a Sunday during worship, I'll reach over and grab Rachel's hand during worship and I'll say, hey, will you pray for me before I preach?
Yeah.
I did it I did it last Sunday to Tim.
Yeah.
Before I went up and preached a message on wisdom, I said, dude, I got all these. Will you pray for me? And he prayed for me.
Yeah.
You get out, call for backup.
Yeah.
And then you have victory.
It's really good. Super important.
Don't just, well, sir, I guess you can have my television if you want it. I guess, should I make you a sandwich? We just let anxiety move in.
It's so good.
Sit down on our couch every night, every day, and now he just becomes a fixture of our life. You are not welcome here.
Yeah.
Get out. I rebuke you in Jesus' name. As a matter of fact, I'm calling backup.
Right.
It might be the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. It might be an elder or a pastor or a counselor or a trusted godly friend.
Yeah.
Get up out of here.
Yeah. No, I loved what Tim said. Like maybe you've been a part of a church where like you had to like pretend that you didn't have any anxiety, that everything was, I'm blessed and highly favored, but like we believe in miracles and medicine. We believe in miracles and what was the other thing? He said miracles, medicine. Oh, and counseling. And I'm like, yes, you need to call the right space in the right place. Jesus is a part of that equation, but you can't be afraid to call, your friend, your counselor, your therapist, whatever it is, to get back on the right track to where you need to be. Because, man, there are seasons and times where we're not okay, and it's okay to not be okay. You just don't want to stay there.
But what Tim said, I think, was very wise, that the medicine is not a long-term solution.
Oh, no.
That this is he said, like, if you're having harming thoughts, if you're, like,
right.
out of control, Don't just medicate yourself and drug yourself and dull the giftings that God's put in you. We don't want you to walk through life in a fog. That's not a long-term answer. But in a moment, if that's needed, call the doctor. And the doctor might just say, dude, you need some more vitamins. I started taking vitamin D.
Grief.
I started taking vitamin D and K2, and it changed my life. It changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I had vitamin deficiency. It changed my life.
It's so real.
So, like, that's what we mean. Doctors does not just mean start popping Zoloft every 4 hours.
Right. No.
Is that the right drug name?
I don't even know. But
I don't know. Or
Ambient.
Or
that's those ones for sleep, ones Xanax,
I don't know what they
all
are.
The pieces. But
tell them the story.
What? Which story?
So we went to this church for a conference.
Oh.
And these people look like they got it together.
Oh.
But we talked to them in the lobby. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, she's clearly on some medication right now. And later I found out that like they were in a hard season walking through some like legal stuff and all the pieces. And I'm like, well, yeah, it makes sense. But is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But recognize that.
But you're talking about the churches that don't allow you to not be okay.
But recognize like, oh, she's clearly on some medication. And I remember feeling like, what if she could just be real about all of that?
Yeah, what if she could just say, I'm sad and scared?
Because two things could happen. I believe she could have freedom.
Yeah.
And so could a whole lot of other people.
Yeah.
Because what made me sad was I realized, oh, you're just hiding. You're hiding what's going on in your life from everyone else around you. You're hiding from yourself because you can't face it right now. And it's not a judgment of, oh, she was on drugs. That's not what I'm saying. It's she's only on these drugs because she doesn't have a safe place.
And is telling nobody she's on the drugs.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And so she's covering up with her eyelashes done, her hair did, and $800
I'm like,
shoes.
God, it just made me so sad because there's freedom
in admitting.
In admitting and not being embarrassed or ashamed. If you're in an environment where you are shamed for feeling anxious, like you said, we've been in times where we didn't understand it, and so like we're sorry. I'm sorry that I've ever been that way.
Yeah.
But recognizing like, oh no, we can all live open and transparent about our struggle while getting the help we need to get us to where we're going, so that we can walk in full freedom. Someone yesterday that I know that has struggled with anxiety in the past, I felt really strong prompting because they're going into a new season. And we talk about all the time that like the enemy often attacks us in places where he's found victory before, and then also in transition moments. And so I just went to them and was like, hey, I just want you to know you have gotten victory and freedom from this. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to jump back on you, and it's not allowed to stay. Mm-hmm. So when the attack starts to come, you just remind it that you already have freedom, that you're already free.
I already beat you, dog.
And that who the Son sets free, the Bible tells us, is free indeed, that we're free from it. And I think that that's only possible in transparent, vulnerable places.
Yep.
And so what you said, the wisdom is yes, counseling, yes, doctors, if that's a necessary piece, but just having a friend that you can say, hey, I mean, being able to talk to you like, hey, I'm falling apart right now. Like I'm literally a jack mess right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't really know even why I'm feeling it. I need you to just know it about me, love me anyway, and then like help me figure out how to make the space, how to give myself some, because some of us are not good at making the space to find rest and to find peace. And like the vulnerability and transparency of it, once you've admitted it to yourself, you better admit it to some other people so they can help you. And so
good.
And if you don't have people like that in your life, find them.
Break the cycle. You don't have to stay there.
Good.
You don't have to stay there. This is not who you have to be.
No.
You might have been dealing with this for 5 years, 10. You don't have to.
Right.
I'm not saying it's easy. Listen to all that we just said. But it's not who you are. It's not all that God has for you. Guess what? He has more.
There's more.
He has more for you.
Right.
Tug into it, man. It's worth the fight.
Yeah. Super good.
Pray for him.
Okay. God, we just pray that you would be with each one of us.
Yeah.
That when, especially this holiday season as it's coming, there are anxieties associated with that that would overwhelm us. The world we live in is a little bit crazy and chaotic, but God, help us to anchor ourselves in you, to anchor ourselves in your word, your truth, to know who you are, to see you for who you are, and to trust you, to look at you, what you've done and what you've allowed in our life, and to show gratitude, and to let that gratitude, that worship, replace the worry and the anxiety and fear. God, if somebody feels alone, if they feel anxious and afraid, if they feel like they don't have a safe place to land, God, allow them to step into a whole new season of relationship and freedom in this next season. God, be with them.
Yeah.
Bring peace.
Yes, Lord.
You're the Prince of Peace, God. Bring peace in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Love you guys so much. We really do.
Share it, like it, subscribe it, all the things. Go.
We really do care about y'all.
We super do.
And really hope that these ideas we're sharing are impactful to you.
Absolutely.
And we believe that you can do all kind of great stuff.
That's true.
Love y'all.
Love
Share,
y'all.
tag, post.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.